What is going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another Instagram Live on this fine Monday. I am joined by a special guest, my girl, Julia, but I'm going to do her full name justice because I think it's absolutely beautiful, and hopefully I don't butcher it too bad. Her full name, Julia Magdalena Deluzio. So I'm going to be joined by her, and we're going to essentially be going over the cost of show day, and this is actually Julia's first live, so how fun is that? And she's in the waiting room, so I'm going to go ahead and let her letting us in, letting us not in, but I'm super excited to kind of talk about the show day experience and the show day costs while I ramble here. Hey, welcome. Hello, hello. How
Hey,
are you?
how are you?
I'm doing really, really well. I feel like I did your name justice. I don't know if you heard it or not, but I tried to add a good oomph to it.
You did it. You did it. You gave it justice. It's Julia Magdalena Deluzio. So there's so many ways to pronounce it. So like I'm from Poland, and so it's Julia Magdalena Deluzio. So like
Wow,
that's
not
how
even
my mom
fucking
says it.
close.
So either way, it'll be fine. It's fine.
Okay,
You
so
did it. You did
as
justice.
I appreciate that. I went the Italian route, not the Polish route, which I'm a little annoyed about because like my stepdad is
Yep.
Polish and so we grew up eating things like the cabbage rolls, we had pierogies, so like I feel like we're already connected.
Yeah. Connected by the GI, by
God
digestive
bless.
system healthiness.
I love it. I love
Mhm.
it so much. So, this is your first IG live, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't wash my hair, so
I This is a week old. This is a week old. We don't judge
no,
here. We don't judge here.
no. We listen, we don't judge.
That's right. That's right. So why don't we kind of go into a little bit of like who you are, just a little quick like origin story, if you will, that we can kind of go into our topic of like the cost of show day. And you did such a great job like breaking down the costs, especially when it comes to like the actual figure amount, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, so I am a NPC wellness amateur competitor. My last show was North Americans back in August. I work with Team Make Moves. My coach is Jonas Jimena, great coach. And I also do posing on the side for amateurs coming up as well, doing their first shows. I started competing not that long ago, about 2 years ago, but I've been a fan of bodybuilding and kind of eat, sleep, breathing bodybuilding for at least 10 years now. So just been educating, doing a lot of research. And I love this topic because I think it's, especially, show seasons coming out, and there's a lot of first time competitors, which is a beautiful thing. But I think it's a little sticker shocking, at least it was to me when I first like dove into like the price of everything and broke everything down. Because I mean, I'm a little bit older. I'm going to be 41 in June, but um, I budget everything. I'm type A, so I budget all my household, items, necessities, and we're very blessed to be in this industry of bodybuilding because it is a luxury sport. So, like, just to preface saying this, regardless, it's going to be expensive. So, it's nice to kind of map it all out, make sure you have the funds because, along with the mentality, the genetics, and the work ethic, you need to really budget this because it is a big and expensive sport.
Absolutely. And of course, we're going to be mostly talking about like the cost of competing for show day, talking about like the show day experience, glam, touch on hotel and travel. But like Julia kind of announced in like the breakdown that we have for notes, like this is not going to be including the cost of your coach, your gym membership, your grocery bill, your health supplements, your lab work, your PEDs, your posing coach, like all of those things are yet another expense of the sport that you also need to take into consideration. So I kind of call those like your baseline costs, because like those are what you're essentially spending your money on year round. And then obviously like when you're in season, in contest prep, that like baseline level goes because of the fact that you are, getting ready to present your physique. And while, yes, there are cost saving ways that we'll talk about, of course, you also want to make sure that when your goal is to bring your best, you don't scrimp on the important stuff. And scrimp is not a real word, but it's my word. And I like using that word. So I'm going to say scrimp.
Yeah, yeah. It's perfect because like you said, there are things that you can definitely get away with, scrimping and finding ways, creative ways to do it and still present very well. And then there's things like a coach, a posing coach, PEDs, food that you really don't want to scrimp on. Like if
Mhm.
your supplements, your coaching, all of that is quality, it's going to show in your physique at the end.
Absolutely. And I think like kind of just like diving into like the major costs,
Yeah,
like when it comes to show day, some of the biggest costs outside of like travel and hotel, because obviously that can be a decent chunk of change, I feel like is going to be the MPC card and then registering for your classes.
okay.
So like I feel like the MPC card is like $250 now.
It's
Um,
It's actually
is it
150. So it's one.
150?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just did it. That's how I know. So it's 150 and it's a calendar year. So it's January to December. So you have one membership for that year. If you decide to compete in December, then it's just for that 1 month. So you'll have to get a new one the following year,
Got you.
if that makes sense.
No,
So
great. I'm
it's,
glad you
mhm.
corrected me on that because I thought I saw like 250, but I would love to save money. So 150 for your NPC card, but I feel like then when it comes to the actual show day, the amount of classes that you register, like you have to pay each time. So if you're someone that is wanting to cross over in either other divisions or compete in other classes when it comes to, true novice, novice and open or even masters, like
Yeah.
cha-ching, 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 like that's
Yeah.
going to cost you. So
Hmm.
I do think, especially if it's your first show, I think the more stage time, the better because you're going to be nervous, Nelly, on stage, and it's likely going to show. And the more that you can be up on stage, get the judges' attention, get in front of them, get their feedback, see if you even like the fucking competing aspect of the sport, I feel like is well worth the investment. But Julie, what are your thoughts?
I agree with you for sure. I'm a master's competitor. I compete in 35 plus and 40 plus, and I did that on a regional level too. And we'll go through the regional if you'd like, the regional and the national costs because they are vastly different. Nationals are like 3 times more expensive. Like for instance, when I did a regional show, I did open because open will ensure that you'll be battling for the overall if you win your class. So it's always good to do open, in my opinion. I think as a first time competitor, true novice, you only get that one chance to do true novice. So I think it's really special.
Hmm.
That's a competitor who's never competed before. True novice, that's the category. Novice is if you've never placed, if you've never won your class in a show. So that's, I always tell my girls, especially if they're on a budget, it's an optional thing. It's good to do it because again, you have more stage time, you have more um, connection with the judges. Obviously, they'll see you more and it gets the butterflies out. But if they are scrimping anywhere, I always say maybe just novice, taking that off the table. As a master's competitor, I usually do 3 classes now in nationals. And every class is $300 plus. So you can do that math. It's almost $1,000 for me for every national show, just to even enter a national show, not even tan, makeup, all that other
Right.
stuff. So it's pretty pricey. It's per class. I do recommend to my competitors to register for your show probably 2 to 3 weeks out because life happens. It's happened to me. I've registered. I've gotten very, very excited. I was like, nothing's going to happen. I'm definitely going to do this show. And it turns out, life happened and life was lifing and I had to pull out of a show and sorry, but those are non-refundable
Yep.
costs. And a lot of these costs that we're talking about today, as far as like hair and makeup, tan, registration fees, NPC card, it's non-refundable.
Hmm.
So just be on the safe side as far as registering for your show. Don't get ahead of yourself. I mean, 2 3 weeks out is a good enough time for them to organize buttons, you know, placings and all of that. So that's my best advice for people. But it's per class. So I always say try to always do open because you never know. You win your class, you may win the whole show. And if you don't do open, you're not even in line for the overall. So I always tell people to do that. And then first time competitors, I'm like, you got to do true novice. It's so special. So,
I agree. I think that's great
mhm.
advice and great perspective there. And then kind of like getting into the meat and potatoes of like show day. This is where if you are like a wizard with like skin prep, tanning, hair, makeup, this in my opinion is where listen, if you're that girly girl that can like glam herself up and does it, dude, this is where you get to save the fucking money and therefore do it for those that maybe are challenged when it comes to hair and makeup department, hi, hello, I'm Ash Markham. Hello, Julia,
So,
you are
mhm,
also challenged. This is where we are going to be spending a lot of money when it comes to hiring, show day hair and makeup. And like just the hair and makeup can be like $300 to $400 combined,
yes,
which is pretty expensive, but also we're not paying for great hair and great makeup. Yes, we are. I'm paying for peace of mind because I can't
yes,
fucking do that
no,
shit. And like your stage makeup, it's almost drag. It needs to be embellished and bold and bright. And
yes,
I don't have the fucking patience, the skill, nor the cost of even the makeup. Because let's be honest, ladies,
yeah,
makeup is fucking expensive.
yeah,
So those things are just ways you can save money. But then when it comes to maybe like DIY tan, that's obviously an option as well. If you are someone that knows how to apply a flawless tan when it comes to skin prep, as well as like, doing your multiple coats. But again, that's not something that I feel confident in my own abilities. Husband, I'm sorry, I love you. You're one of my greatest supporters. I don't trust Eric to put on the tan. So I'm going to pay the show host tan to do my first and second coat and then potentially either do a little bit of like glaze or whatever on the glutes to make sure that my physique pops on stage. And again, that's like $150 to $200 depending on the tanning company.
right,
But I'm also again paying for peace of mind because I
yes.
don't want to do that shit.
Yes, absolutely. You make a great point because although I've heard that the do-it-yourself tan is awesome and it's actually stress-free because you're not running to an appointment. What stresses me out is actually having somebody do like I just want it to be in somebody else's hands. So I'm
Mhm.
exactly like you. Like, could I potentially do my hair? Yeah, I probably could. It's just curling my extensions, whatever. But like sometimes, well, most of the time on show day morning, it's at the ass crack of dawn when you're getting your hair and makeup done. It's the last thing you want to think of. You're just me personally, trying just to get in my zone, keep cortisol
Yeah.
low, just relax. Obviously it's show day and you probably didn't have a great sleep to begin with the night before because you're excited. That's my time to relax. And if I pay that extra just to have that peace of mind, for me, it's worth it. I also cannot do makeup at all. My husband thinks I can because I throw on a little mascara and it's like, I never wear mascara. So I'm like a glamazon if I do it. I'm like, no, this is totally different makeup. Like this makeup will make you look photoshopped.
Yeah.
It's drastic, it's dramatic, it has to be. And it is very particular. I have a makeup artist that I absolutely love that I go to for every time, we go out in the city or go out New Year's or whatever. And she did my makeup for one show, a regional show. And although she did a great job, it definitely looked different from the
Mm.
other girls that had their professional makeup done. So I say this with I want people to save as much money as they can, but also just know that we are being judged head to toe, especially bikini and wellness and most of the female divisions, head to toe on our level of polish, like how we look. So you want to look and feel your best too, because it'll exude. So whatever that looks like for you. If you are, I know girls who do their own makeup for shows and it looks pristine. It looks so good. And I'm so jealous of those girls. Like you said, like they're saving money and it looks so good. And they get to sit there and like just have their coffee and do
Yeah.
their makeup. I get so jealous. But there's ways to definitely scrimp and save in that department, but at what expense? If you know that somebody's really good at it, like go for it, try it out, maybe do like a trial run, just to
Yes.
make sure that you feel comfortable with that option, or just go for the show day makeup artist that's contracted with whatever show you're doing.
Absolutely. And then another like stage glam is paws and claws.
Yes.
That's something where I went with you with the press on route. You can go to like the drugstore and get very nice press ons and do them the night before, or maybe even the morning of once you're all done head to toe.
Hmm.
Because I am not. I got acrylics once and I hated my
Yeah.
life, right? Because it just everything was more complicated than it needed to be.
Yep.
And I do think that although it's really nice to treat yourself to a mani pedi, I would much rather treat myself to a pedi, scrape off all the calluses, get all the shit out of my feet. That way, when my feet are in my heels, which are see through, they look pretty and polished as
Yep.
well. But as far as like the nails, again, I do not want to get them professionally done in terms of the length too, just because one, I had a poor reaction and it like really hurt my skin on my nails and
Oh
everything and
no.
my nail beds. But like again, sick for me, I need to keep it fucking simple, stupid. So for me, like it's really hard to fuck up the press ons. You know what
So
I'm saying? Like you press,
hard.
you take a tab off and you press on, and you just like
So easy.
wait. It's so easy, right? And like I said, like
Hmm.
you can do it like an hour before you get on stage if you want to. So that way, like when you wipe yourself, you're not getting shit in your nails, when you're like fixing your
It's
hair, or you're putting
yeah.
on your jewelry, or you're eating your fucking rice cakes, you're not getting
Yes.
shit all over your nails.
So
So again,
gross.
think long term. But if you are someone that wants to get her per claws done at a professional salon, that's fine. Just remind yourself show day is very stressful. It goes very quick. So if it's a way that like you are a pro at like your nails and you can do all of the things with your KCAT claws, girl,
I mean,
respect.
I
And it
know.
is for respect.
I'm the same way. So I do like the morning of show, I or the night before, whatever's less stressful for me, because I'll sit there and I'll put on my press on nails like in the morning and it's quiet and I'll sip my like 4 ounces of coffee or whatever like coach gives me show day morning and I'm just like just doing my nails. But I gotta tell you, when it's your show day and a ton of people and it's beautiful, you get so many messages of good luck, wishing you well, et cetera, et cetera, and you're trying to type back to people and you can't. It's so frustrating. So I'm just like, guys, I'm wearing my whore nails. I will get back to everybody once they're off. I promise you, because I cannot type with them. That's what I call them because they're so long. They're like my little
I
whore nails.
love
But
that. Yes,
yeah,
toenails are definitely like a added like just extra level of difficulty. You know what I'm saying? It's like
yeah,
it's already like show day's already hard, but that's like
yes,
expert level. So
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I love that
yeah.
you added that. But again, another way to save money because a professional set of claws can be like $200 versus the press-ons. I think it was like 20. Is
Oh,
that?
it's like $6 on
Yeah,
Amazon, and everybody
even better.
compliments me. Everybody backstage is like, "Those are beautiful. Those are beautiful." I'm like, "They're 4.99 on Amazon, but
And you're
thanks."
like, I can't wait to just flick off these
Yeah,
fuckers.
yeah, and that's what I do right after. Like it's yeah. So I mean, you can do that. Like I said, it's kind of balancing what's going to keep you less stressed on peak week. Like I love my pedicure on peak week because it's just chilling. You're just sitting in a chair and someone's doing it. If it makes you less stressed to do your own nails or how whatever, like just do that. Um, yeah. So there's definitely ways to. I don't know if you can scrimp and save for a pedicure. I mean, I don't know.
Make your husband do it. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
I know.
I mean, I don't know if they're into foot stuff. They seem a
Yeah,
little bit everyone involved, but
yeah.
I mean,
But you
like,
you definitely need your nails done because nobody needs crusty toes on stage. Little gremlin toes in the clear heels that you can see through.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So that also brings up like another point when it comes to like the actual physical manifestation of what you are wearing. So let's first, the biggest one is going to be the cost of the suit. When it comes to first time competitors, this is where I don't mind recommending a lower budget option when it comes to maybe a lesser known suit company.
Yeah.
Like I personally went with Vowels for my first show,
Hmm.
and I actually got more compliments on my Vowels suit than I did the other suits that I wore, which was a bigger named bikini company suit.
Yeah.
And even then, that was like $250, which I mean, that is very budget friendly for a suit that looked good on me and was
Oh.
very pretty.
Hmm.
Um, if you're someone that maybe that's way too much, I don't know how much renting suits are, but I feel like it has to be a little bit cheaper because you're not owning the suit itself. But you could also go with a rental company and rent suits
Yep.
too, if that's something where you're still kind of timid with not even sure you want to drop $200 on a sparkly bikini you're only going to wear once. A very valid point, a very valid concern. So
Yeah.
know that you have options. Or if you're someone that still uses Facebook, this no shade, but there are
Mhm.
plenty of like selling of already pre-worn suits on stage at a usually a discounted rate. So you could rent a suit, you could buy a pre-owned suit, you could go with a budget company and be, less than $500. If you are someone where you're like you got bit by the bug, you got the bodybuilding jock itch, welcome, hi, hello.
Bitch.
You're yeah, you're probably gonna want to buy a custom suit that fits you like a glove. And this is where I truly believe that working with a higher level suit designer where they have a high level of customer service. They show a lot of their girls and a lot of their suits on and off stage to look at show day lighting, but then also what the different crystals look like in different lighting. They do a full on consultation. They get all your measurements. They do follow up appointments and Zoom calls. Like, I really do think that, again, that level of care and customer service, that's like a way that you can kind of give back to yourself for busting your ass in and out of the gym. Because when I feel taken care of, when I feel like a valued customer, that makes me feel good. And I do think,
Yeah.
affording a suit that is $600-700 is just a way that I get to like add a girl because I did the work and now I feel like I deserve a higher price suit versus the $200 suit that I looked good in, but I know I'm
Yeah.
going to look better in the higher budget one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you're very smart with your money too, so you know that that's within your caliber of your budget. So like I definitely recommend to my first time competitors, especially if they're not sure, like you said, if they're even going to love the stage, like just rent a suit. And this goes for suits, tan, sometimes hair and makeup. Um, we have the world at our fingertips, I think, as far as our telephones. Everybody and their mom has a code somehow, some way.
That's right.
So here's kind of like a hack that I've learned, like for Protan or like Liquid Sun Rays. I went onto their Instagram and looked at their athletes. Like if I didn't know anybody personally that I wanted to support that had a code, I went on their pages and I would see who was tagged as their athletes, and then they have their code in their bio. So that's a good way, whether it's suits, tans, maybe hair and makeup. I'm not sure. I didn't dive really into that, but jewelry, things like that, that shoes, like the shoe fairy. I know everybody has a code for the shoe fairy for sure. So like there's ways to kind of hack it out, or you can like slash a couple coins here and there too.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And that also goes into like the other like tangibles, like jewelry. So thinking like pretty earrings, one bracelet or two bracelets. I wouldn't recommend a necklace. I think that's pretty distracting.
Yeah, no necklace.
But yeah, I would do earrings, one bracelet, maybe two bracelets. If you have a belly button ring, I feel like that's fine as long as it's tasteful and not super
Yeah,
distracting. I know
right.
that can kind of be controversial because on some hand, like you don't see the top level Olympians wearing their belly button rings. On the other hand, Sid Gillian,
Fancy
yeah,
Ellie,
yeah, so
Eduarda,
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's like I feel like
and
that's
look.
no longer right. That's no longer like a battle. Like, oh, we don't see pros. I guess you do, but it is
So
tasteful
small.
and complete package. Yeah, so go small. A little pretty stud that matches like your suit connectors, especially.
Yeah,
That's kiss, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but like jewelry, like the jewelry can be 20 to 40 bucks. It's not nearly as expensive, but granted, again, you're just dropping more sand in the bucket, so it is going to add up. But you don't need to be fucking going to like a actual jewelry store and spending $1 billion on like like diamonds. Like
no,
you can just go on Amazon. Like there are other companies that can sell like pretty costume jewelry that will again add to your presentation, but you also need to take into consideration when you buy these jewelries, it should not take away from your package. It should complement and enhance. So,
hmm,
look at your earrings. I have like four studs. On show day, I'm just gonna wear my big danglies. I don't need to have all my studs.
right,
Um,
right.
the earring itself, like it doesn't need to be like all the way down to my fucking tit. Like it should just be like long enough to where when I have my hair behind me, that you see something right here that again, like when you're looking at me from my starting my toes all the way to my head, it again adds to my physique and my presentation.
Yeah,
Same thing with like your wrists and stuff like that when it comes to that. I've seen some that are super chunky that I
yeah,
personally wouldn't do, but I feel like sometimes less is more. So like one medium thick bracelet, I feel like is plenty. But again, as long as it looks good on you and you fucking pull it off,
yeah,
dog. World's your oyster there. What scares me is I know some girls are like hair flip girlies, and that's fine if that's in your presentation. But also keep in mind that flicks can get caught in rings, can
yep,
get tangled up in bracelets. So
yep.
practice with your jewelry on, but then also remember that less is more when it comes to not only your posing, but also like what is on your body when it comes to the posing.
Yeah, just complimentary, nothing crazy. Don't try to make a statement. Like, please don't make those statements with like jewelry and necklaces and this and that. And, I'm seeing a lot of, I don't know if you're seeing this, but I'm seeing a couple of girls wear anklets, like like bracelet things. I'm like, well, that's different. I mean, I don't hate it, but like, it's just different. But the rule of thumb is like ring, bracelet, maybe even like a small bracelet. So if you're doing like a You know, obviously do what makes you feel the best, right? And listen to your coaches. But I feel like if you're doing something chunky on one side, I feel like you need to make it delicate on the other side,
Yep.
just like a smaller one. Just so it's not like, you know, I mean, Wonder Woman's amazing and I love her, but like the bands on the Wonder Woman
Right.
wrist, it's a little too much. And especially if you're like short stature like me, I have to keep that in mind because everything just will just make me look shorter. A thick, as thick as it can be, you know, it just makes you look shorter. You don't have that problem, Ash. You're tall, but
No, but that
that's
also
me
brings up a
just
good point. If
yeah,
you are like vertically
yeah.
challenged, I wouldn't be
Um,
going chunky. If you've got long legs for days, hi, hello, how you doing?
right, you
I
have
probably
it
can get away with something a bit more chunky because I have the
exactly,
limbs to support it. But
exactly.
again, just keep in mind that the more shit that you have on your body, the more it could be distracting. Not only from like a judge's standpoint, but then also again when you are posing. Because if like you're moving things around, again, the stage lights are hot, you're likely gonna be sweating, like things get sticky, your hair gets sticky, the glaze could get sticky. If you get caught, like
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
not a good look when you're like looking like you're trying to like don't do that shit.
yeah.
Like especially if it's your first time, like again, less is
Less
more.
is more. Always, it always just looks so clean and polished when less is more, for sure, for sure. And like suit colors too, like all of that. I mean, that's a total different episode, but like, just keep it simple. Feel your most beautiful, but just keep it simple. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then when it comes to shoes, I think the average price of shoes, depending upon if you do Shoe Fairy or Compaq or if you just do Amazon, can anywhere between like 60 to $120. Now, when it
Hmm.
comes to the shoes, like there's different styles when it comes to like mules or straps or whatever. This is where you need to trust your gut. I don't really think the judges have a preference. It's whatever you feel confident in when it comes to walking in heels.
Yep.
When it comes to the heel height and also platform height, like
Hmm.
take into consideration when it comes to being able to balance, being able to present, when it comes to having like bedazzled shoes or maybe just more clear shoes. Like again, it should just be a well polished package and more sparkle doesn't necessarily mean better attention, right? So like sometimes again it's just like your physique should be the main attraction and everything else should just highlight that. So
Yeah.
like don't get super worked up, especially as an amateur. Like it matters, but I feel like it matters more when you're a professional when it comes to
Yeah.
all the little finer details. But if you're getting worked up over your shoes and crying over that and you haven't practiced posing, it's like, baby, you got bigger fish to
Yeah.
fry. So
Yeah. Yeah.
focus on what makes sense versus like what you're hyper fixating on big time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I do recommend, especially if you're a girl with a strap, I do recommend to have like a plan B shoe, especially if you think you're going to, especially if, so I have a girl who practices all the time and she
Yeah,
has straps and she's only been practicing for like 3 to 4 months, like consistently every single
and
day.
he breaks.
It's, yeah, the strap is breaking already. And she just got these shoes, which stinks, but like it happens. It's just plastic wear and tear. It's nothing to do with the company. It's just the way that the plastic, it's plastic, you know? So I always say have either, I know Shoe Fairy sells them. They have like a little strap attachment that you can just slip underneath your shoe
Mhm.
and it's a strap. And I can share that on my story or Ash's story too. But I know the Shoe Fairy has that, or just get like a second pair of shoes as a just in case. And you don't have to like, you don't have to do that, but it's a just in case. You don't want to come show day and your strap is broken and all of a sudden you have to like pinch your foot a little harder than you were before, you know, in your routine, and it kind of throws you off. So yeah, if you can handle getting a second pair of shoes, then I personally would recommend it, especially if you've been in straps.
Absolutely. I will speak on as someone that wore straps for her first competition with the amount of practice, but then also the first show and the second show. I did have to get two pairs of shoes because the strap did break just
Yeah.
from the wear and tear. And as someone that now wears like the donkeys or the mules with no straps, I remember how fucking stressed I was trying to take off my goddamn shoe with
Really?
the fucking buckle because like it was really frustrating and annoying to have to like take it off and take it on because like not like sometimes shows don't run according to plan
Of
and
course.
like you think you're about to like hop your ass on stage when in reality the show promoter or the people backstage kind of just aren't paying attention or jump the gun and then you're there for like two
Yeah.
hours like in your fucking heels and I'm sorry that
Yes.
fucking hurts so like
Yes.
I found it easier personally to just like not. do the strap this time, which means, yeah, I practice a lot more because I don't have that security. But I also can just like flick, flick, and the shoes go
They're
flying because
off.
like it's easier to take off. You're not going to have your tan rub against it. So like
Yeah.
that personally was a learning curve for me that I don't like straps.
I'm switching to straps this year. I don't know. Well, I do know why. So I have very, and this is kind of off topic, but I have very flat feet. Like you can't get much flatter than my feet.
Oh,
And I've always worn like the mule style and I've never had an issue. And I don't know. I mean, I should probably be in my heels a lot more. Let's just be honest here. But like, I don't know if it's because I weigh a lot more, a lot more. So there's more like, pressure on my foot, but it's aching my foot, and I'm finding that like my arch or lack thereof is like trying to like hold on to it because there's no straps. So I just ordered the new straps and I'm gonna test it out. I don't think I'm gonna practice in them because I don't want the plastic to wear, but I think for show I'm gonna go with the straps. But I'm like nervous about that because like backstage, like you said, it's a hurry up and wait. So and they want you in your heels like ASAP backstage. So like you're standing there in your heels sometimes just standing there waiting, and I'm like, oh my gosh, all I did was slip them on before. Now I have to actually like fasten them and bend over in my suit, which is already glued to me, which is another topic that we can go into.
mhm.
But yeah, it's not as glamorous as I think as people think, but
It's not. And then like one last thing on like the shoe front
yeah,
is like also like so like you said you have flat feet. Like if you are someone that has naturally wide feet like I do, you need
me
to
too.
read the description of the shoe because
Yes.
not only the pictures can show you what the toe box looks like, but there are some shoes that are very very pointy for more petite feet, little like petite women, but
Yeah.
there are some shoes that do have a bigger and wider base for us
Mhm.
fat footed beauties that need a little extra girth for the toes. Hi, hello.
Yeah.
Because like thinking about when you pose, and Julia will be able to attest to this, it is very important to have foot pressure, especially with your toes. And when your toes are like this in your fucking shoe, that's going to throw off your balance. It's going to throw off your coordination. And so you want to make sure that, if the plastic wrap is like heated with a hair dryer to let it expand for room for your piggies,
Yeah.
that is a great tip. But then also reminding yourself that, like, I get that your favorite professional has like this shoe, but if y'all don't have the same fucking feet, it's likely not the best option to get like a really like small little Cinderella shoe when you have
Right.
like the evil ugly stepsister shoe feet.
When you're like a gargoyle on stage.
Literally, like I said, you end up looking like this in your shoe, and you're like,
Yes.
talk about a foot
The
cramp.
over. The when the toes go over, I'm like, no. And then they have like the photos of them. I'm like, no, they did them dirty. But I mean, that's sweat too. That's tan. They do have like, I think the Shoe Fairy actually sells them too. They have like inserts where it'll prevent your foot from slipping through. I didn't really ever have that problem. But I know girls that do. So I get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think we touched on the major costs of like show day when it comes to the glitz and the glam, and then obviously like again like the hotel, the
Yeah.
travel. Something else that you touched on was like bed sheets and bathrobes. Like you have to understand that your tan is toxic, right? Like
Hmm.
you can't piss or poop like a normal person when you have your tan on, or else you get toilet seat butt. So like
Yes.
you have to take into consideration that your tan is going to get everywhere. So you want to wear like black silk robes, black silk sheets, pillowcases, because you don't want that rubbing off on hotel sheets because they will talk about expensive. They'll charge you for
Oh
that shit,
yeah.
but then also the tan gets fucked up.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you get touch ups, but even then it's like that's even more stress because now you have to go to the tan place and hopefully they
Yep.
haven't packed up
Yep.
yet. So it's one of
Yeah.
those things where it's like help yourself out and make sure that you have like the little niceties. Like honestly, I probably plan on getting a shiwi because like I did the Dixie cup method last time and like it worked, but like it could work better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And no one talks about or gives enough love to the shiwi or bikini bite or any of like the little niceties that does make your life a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah.
But again, those $15-$20 things, more sand in the bucket, more
Right.
costs.
Right. Right. Like I bought a little do-it-yourself tan kit from Protan off of Amazon. I think it was like $45. So it had everything in it. Bikini Bite. It had, I think, like the odor
Yeah.
defender. It had like the, for one time coat, whatever. I didn't even use the tanning stuff. What I used and I put in my show day bag was like the Bikini Bite, the Muscle Glaze, like things like that. So just as a just in case. And I never used them, but it was just a peace of mind situation for me. Same with like things like a sewing kit, like lash glue. I think I sent you the list of like a show day packing list and it has that stuff. Again, never even had to use that, but it's just that peace of mind. Like I think one girl was freaking out backstage and I was like, oh, I have this. And I like gave it to her and she's like, oh my God, you're like an angel. I'm like, it's fine. I just packed it. Like I didn't even need it. But yeah, so those are definitely some of those costs, like a backstage robe too. I mean, again, you can get that stuff at Amazon. Some sandals backstage, like a black sheet. I think I got at Walmart. Like it was a sheet set, and I just got like a queen sheet set. So like I take that anytime I travel to shows. Um, Towel, a black towel. So the first show that I went to, and I took a shower post show because that's all you really want to do post show is eat, drink water, and shower.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but that's all I want to do is shower and drink some water. Um, I made the mistake of not having a black towel, so towel was completely ruined. So and hotels will charge you for that too. So just don't add any more costs to your plate. Just be proactive in preventing those from happening.
Absolutely. This is like the next thing that I are coming to mind is like little, again, peace of mind. That's not something that necessarily I would do, but if you are someone where it's like you're scatterbrained Jane because it's your first show and everything's new and overwhelming, things like, doing like Grubhub or whatever the fuck, DoorDash for your groceries.
Yeah.
Like, well, yes, you want to have meals with you, like also maybe packing all of your things, especially if you have to travel far for your first show.
Yeah.
Okay, packing your entire meal prep for 3 or 4 days, that's likely not going to work out well, even if you have good intentions. So
Mhm.
it's like, have groceries delivered, or maybe give someone a list for you to like order like your groceries or whatever. Like, do reservations for like restaurants, hotels, rental cars. Like, this is where you need to be an adult and think
Yeah.
ahead, which I know is
Mhm.
hard because, especially since this is all new to you,
Yeah.
like your first priority is like making sure you fucking get registered for the show and like get your suit number and all the bodybuilding things, but
Sure.
you also can't forget to be an adult. So this is where it's like, if you have a significant other, if you have a show day mom, like, resource and outsource things so that way, like, the less that you have on your plate, the less likely you're able to forget. But if you do forget, Miss Julia has organized a really nice show day checklist, which is fairly comprehensive, of making sure you have your life in order when it comes to all of the show day necessities, but then other things that you might not think of. Like she said, a sewing kit, lash glue, super glue, um, other extra things that maybe your coach maybe should have told you, but maybe they forgot. So she put a very nice PDF together. And I also have a mental show day checklist from Dr. Effie, which I think is good for the
Ooh,
mental component. So you
yes.
guys can message either one of us and we will send you that nice little PDF that Julia made or that Dr. Effie made, because I do think it gives you peace of mind. So just let us know if you want that. Any other things that you want to address, Julia, before we answer some questions? Because I think we got a couple.
Oh, cool. Just a couple of like optional things, but still a part of your presentation. I know we touched upon the tan, but like the prep for the tan, the better your skin is, like the better you take care of it, exfoliating, moisturizing leading up to the show, the better your tan is going to look on stage. And obviously, we're all judged on the presentation and also our skin presentation. So, and it's just going to make your physique look better. A couple other options leading up to show day. We all love Prep Face. Some girls get filler, some get Botox. Us older, more mature ladies get the Botox. It's just extensions. It's just that extra oomph if you want to, if you have that. It's not mandatory, of course, but if that's something that you feel better in and you just want to budget it into your show day and feel your best, then that's definitely an optional one too.
Absolutely. And just one last thing to add, because that's another like great thing, is when you are like kind of getting those like last minute like little nicey things, like, again, like, just remind yourself that they are not necessarily mandatory, but there are cheaper ways to do it. I'm not saying go cheap on Botox, but For example, I have sewn and weft. Okay, this is real human
too.
hair. It's very expensive. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with the fucking Sallies and getting
No.
extensions that
Those
match your hair.
halos, the halo
Yeah.
ones, they look so
Mhm.
good. So good.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. There was one other thing that what you were talking about reminded me, but now I can't think of it. Huh.
It
That's gonna bug me.
was probably a lie. No, I'm kidding. I probably made it
Bitch.
up.
No, but we will open it up to questions. But we
Okay.
do have one question. It was Miss Christine. She wanted to know what's the latest a person can register for a show. And honestly, like I feel like either the week before or maybe even a few days, especially if it's like a smaller show, they will charge you usually a $50 like late registration fee. But again, like life happens and I would much rather pay a $50 fee and compete at a show that I know I'm ready for than pre-register early for a show that I'm not and end up losing
Yeah.
$150, $250. So like again, like don't be afraid to do the late registration just because it's a little bit extra. Like again, I understand that it's kind of a pain in the ass, but like
Yeah.
dude, like if you were ready, like fucking let her rip.
Yeah. And I mean, just speaking from experience, I'm just talking about North Americans because and it's a national show. So just keep that in mind. It's way more expensive than a regional show. I know that the late fee was like, I think it was only 2 or 3 days prior. And or maybe it was a week prior, but it was close. It was close to the show, is my point. And it was like a $300 late fee. It was insane. So, like, yeah, it was crazy. But I would do I would do I think 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I tell my girls it's just a safe time where you're gonna be ready. Shit happens all the time. Like I think 4 weeks out, I was gonna do a Pittsburgh show, one of my first shows. I was gonna do the Pittsburgh Championships
Mhm.
2 years ago, and my dog got into a scuffle with another dog, and I ended up having to pay for vet fees like 4 weeks out, that dog's vet fees, a fence in the yard, dog training, like thousands of dollars. So like shit happens sometimes and I get it. But like try like I think 2, 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks is like the sweet spot. I don't know. I don't think any of our shows regionally on the Northeast have like a late fee. Probably like that week, like peak week maybe, but I never saw a late fee that was any sooner than that
Yeah. So
personally. But I could be
I'd say
wrong.
like if it's not the end of the world if you have to do a late fee. And again, I'd rather spend the $50
Exactly.
fee
Yeah.
than not at all. But here's a great way to save money. Don't be a fucking jackass with your post show treats. Because here's the
Yeah.
deal. What costs a lot of money? The cookies the size of a premature infant
That's
that
not needed.
don't need to be eating, the
Mm,
brownies the size of a fucking like Costco box, like the little things. And this even goes when it comes to like off-season contest prep. Like I understand we want to do things that make our lives easier or happier or more joyful, but like the things that cost a lot of money, especially in contest prep, the flavored rice cereals, the
yeah.
flavored sauces that actually have calories even though they say 0 calories on it,
Yeah.
impulse buying because you're so low in dopamine that you just need to feel something, that
Yeah.
people end up buying. Guys, I'm not
So
kidding.
true.
Watches, cars, shoes, sports bras, like
Yeah.
things that end up costing like hundreds to thousands of dollars on a whim because you just want to feel something. And so like the
Yeah.
biggest thing that you can do is one, make sure you have the money that you have for a successful prep by saving ahead, not
Right.
charging it to your credit card and then putting your actual credit card in the fucking freezer suspended in ice so that way you're not buying things that you don't need.
Yeah. Yeah. Confessions of a shopaholic. I know. It's true. And you know what? I can say that because I was that person. So don't be me. I was that person that was like scroll and I've learned now, obviously doing more and more shows and being a little more responsible, but just food driven things like, oh, I need that new flavor of cookie that came out this week. So I'm gonna freeze it. I'm gonna buy it and freeze it, buy it and freeze it. And then you have a whole freezer of like shit you really don't need. There's things to eat post show, guys, like good things that you'll need. You don't need to hoard, buy cookies or, buy a car or anything like that. Like just put that in another account where you can't see it. That's like kind of the best advice that I can give you, and put that towards the show or whatever your goal is. But
Mhm.
Yeah, there's definitely some unnecessary costs that you don't need.
Exactly. And then like even thinking about like post show costs,
Oh yeah.
something that like plug work again is going to be important to get, supplements for your reverse, food for your reverse, things like that. But then also like this is where I don't believe in post show treats. That's just not my personal thing.
Yeah.
And I have a conversation with my athletes because binge behaviors is very prevalent. Post show blues, very much a real depression.
Yeah.
But you guys did such great work in your off season and in your contest prep. Why not reward your physical body with a nice massage, a photo shoot,
Mm.
maybe like, not a vacation. That's not a good time to do, but like something to actually like reward your physical body for like putting up with your fucking shit, for your 2 hours of cardio, for your like trace carb days, like actual genuine love back into the system. So like I said, like body work, like something that, you maybe always wanted to get for a hobby. Because again, when you are reversing, like you can get very much depressed and overly body and food focused. So it's like this is where we need to start like replenishing your body and replenishing, your mind with things that give you meaning and give you joy outside of bodybuilding. Because as much as we love it and as much as people love being nosy and supporting you and like wishing you good luck on show day, the minute that Monday rolls around, no one gives a fuck about you. And it is
Yeah.
hard. It is hard for everyone to like be up your asshole on Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday comes and you're like, ready to get back in your programming. Like you're really excited to make improvements. You got the judges'
No one
feedback.
cares.
Now people are like, who are you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even in like off season, going into off season, so it makes you feel like, oh, am I only good enough when I'm shredding spaghetti? And that's obviously not the case. So I think like post show, that's the time you invest in your people. The people that after the curtain closes and the lights dim are still standing there with you, who were there before, that's the time you invest because the fake clout comes and goes. And what did you call it? The
The
lean,
lean
what did you,
lovers.
the
Yeah,
lean
the
lovers.
lovers.
Yes.
The minute
Yes.
you start reversing, they're out of here.
They're
They're like,
out.
fuck you, you're fat.
Yeah. And then they'll come back again and be like, ooh, what show are you doing? It's like, oh God, here we go.
Those are the
But
same people that ask you what your macros are because they want to look like you, so they think that like eating your macros is gonna like get that result. And I'm like, nah, dude,
I'm like,
nah.
it's a
So
lot, dude. It's a
it,
lot.
it,
Just
it really is.
it's a lot on my low day. So you don't even want to know
That's
my high day.
right. That's
But
right.
yeah, yeah.
Any final questions, you guys? Just pop them in the chat or the question box. We'll be on for another 3 minutes. Until then, we'll just kind of shoot the shit. But is there
Yeah.
anything else that you think that we didn't cover when it comes to at least show day costs?
So I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of what you said is like it doesn't end on show
Mm.
day with everything. I mean, with food, with the PCT, all of that. The costs are actually a little bit more, afterwards. I always tell people, and I heard this somewhere and I can't remember where, that if you have a 16-week prep, add 8 weeks to that. Just mentally, just add 8 weeks. Your new prep time is 24 weeks, let's say, or 26 weeks, because that 8 weeks, the 4 to 8 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks after a show is really really important. You could make or break things there. So just tag on those amount of weeks and mentally kind of commit to that. It's like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I think that's good. I think that's a good way to kind of like wrap it up and end things. Like show day is very expensive. This is a very expensive sport. It is a luxury service, absolutely. But make sure if it comes to being cost friendly and budget friendly, that you're not cutting corners on a coach that gives a shit about you, that prioritizes your health over a bullshit trophy, where you feel your best and you're ready to present your physique to be judged. Because again, I cannot reiterate enough, you are going to be on stage in a bikini and it is going to reveal the work that you did or did not do.
Yeah.
Like no one is removed from that, whether you're an amateur first time competing or you're on the Olympia
Yeah.
stage. Like the lights are bright, they're hot, like the competition can be fierce. So make sure that when you are presenting your physique, you are bringing your best. And part of bringing your best means physical, mental, spiritual, and financial. Like you want to make sure that you are not charging this to your credit card. You're not putting your family's finances in a bind because, like Julia noted, she had a really scary thing with her dog. I was evacuating from a hurricane my first peak week, so like that was a big fucking financial stress to pack up everything and go inland. So like life does happen and it absolutely will. So don't think that like, oh, these are just horror stories that these people that you know on Instagram, like, no, like life happens, like animals get sick, they get hurt, you get sick, you get hurt, like natural disasters happen, all of
Mhm.
these things. So you just want to make sure you're prepared. And with that, make sure you pick up Julia's awesome PDF because it does help you to be prepared. She laid out things in a really nice order. Like there are things that you can also add to it that is unique to your experience that maybe your coach will add, but make sure you message Julia to pick that up because it's absolutely free and she did a great job on it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and have fun this season. To everybody who's listening, who's going to compete, who's getting ready to compete, who's even thinking about competing. This is fun. It should be fun. Should not be stressful. There's stresses, but it's these things, they collect dust. But the journey is what it's about.
Absolutely. I love that. And I appreciate you. You did a great job on your first IG Live. Everyone applaud. Yes, good job, girl. Proud of you. I
Thank
appreciate you.
you.
You do such a good job in what you do. And I appreciate that you want to make the industry better. Julie will be a collaborator on this post, and this post will also be uploaded to YouTube. So if you're watching us either live or watching the replay, guys, thank you so much. And we'll catch you with another Monday. Take care. Have a
Thank
great evening,
you.
guys.